of the day. This one between Legacy Esports and Sin Gaming, traditional OCE esports rivalry, now brought here onto the battlefield of the gods. Legacy currently sitting in second seed in the OPL, just behind Scylla Esports. A little bit in part, I think they'll grant to having to use their sub Sharks for a long time of the split. Unfortunate, injuries and other commitments from their players. But Sharks has done, I think, a great job for Legacy Esports, and now they're up against Sin Gaming. So for this cast, it's going to be me, the lovely Husey, along with the even lovelier Lynx clone. And Lynx, I think everyone's pretty much favoring Legacy in this one. How do you think Sin Gaming can cause an upset?
Well, especially now with Limits now returning to the ADC position for Legacy, it's going to be up for Sin Gaming to really shut down Limits in that ADC position, as well as also find a way to hold El Chocos from being that aggressive force that really drives the Legacy roster. Currently, we already see Skadi and Cullen bans coming out of Legacy, and Sin Gaming have also banned away things.
That's an Ardio. We just don't have the card for it yet, and a Hell banned away here from Sin Gaming. So the Hell, obviously a very strong pick of late, and we saw the damage, the absolute havoc that an Ardio can wreak in
Not to mention as well,
in the last game.
Weave is really known for playing those slightly more unconventional supports. He does like playing things like Hell. He has played Warrior supports in the past, and it's nothing too surprising for that to get banned away immediately. As we do, however, see Terra picked up for Legacy, as well as the Erlang Shen going to Sin Gaming.
Well, Weave isn't playing this week. It's going to be Sharks filling in the support role as Limits is back, but Weave, the support, is out. So Sharks played one side of the duo lane, now he's onto the other one. So he's going to be playing that Terra support, unless it's a Terra solo, something fancy like that for El Chuckles. Erlang Shen and Kronos locked in now for Sin Gaming. So we see a Camazot's pretty much immediately taken by Legacy as soon as they have the pick option again.
So already Legacy going for a very strong teamfight roster. They got the Terra ultimate, they got the Hui ultimate for the teamfights, and not to mention the amount of sustain already coming out from Legacy is quite the terrifying sight. Sin Gaming on the other side, however, they have the Khepri and the Kronos combination to make it quite hard to kill. Not to mention, I really do like the Kronos pickup to deny Limits that pick, as well as just get a really strong possible mid or ADC pick for Sin Gaming.
I like the Khepri to try and keep their teammates alive, especially with a lot of the pressure that a Hoi and a Camazotz can put out. Sol going to be banned away by Sin. Hunbat taken away by Legacy. So I think that Sin Gaming is also using a sub for the week. Sheepman appears to be filling in for Erratic. So Sin Gaming not playing with their full roster either.
Yeah, and Sheepman, he has been known in the past to play the Khepri, which is a very easy pick, especially up against a Terra. You can most certainly quite easily dominate that level 1 wave clear, and combine that with either, it's most likely going to be the Ram. Usually if you pick a Ram, you're not going to put him to the mid unless you're playing with Swifty, and then anything's up for question. But where Khepri Ram is a fairly strong duo lane, which by right should not lose to the Terra Hui in the early game, allowing Sin Gaming to get that nice extra lead against Limits.
Alright, Janice and Sobek now locked in for Legacy Esports, so that's going to be a solo deck for El Chuckles. I would suspect that more than a Terra solo. And the Giannis pick here for iDivine in the mid lane. He's played this before, but I personally haven't seen him on a Giannis in a very long time. Very interesting to see how he performs on that one. Looking at the last few bans as well, which we glossed over, so Susano for Legacy was their last ban, and Thoth for Sin Gaming. Their final pick is going to be a tier. That is very interesting. A tier against a Terra.
Yeah, especially because Erlang Shen's pin no longer crippled, so Giannis, if he can get through the portal, he's out of there. He's just gonna disappear. There's no stopping them. And there's a lot of mobility on the side of Legacy, so the pin not really gonna do much. You can't knock back Terra when she's under her pillar. And it's going to be up against a Sobek who can actually reduce the healing of Tyr, so you'd think that'd be kind of a counter matchup, but at least Tyr she'll have a fairly easy lane just due to the fact that Sobek just doesn't have the best clear.
Alright, well, we're going to be heading into game very shortly here, but I think we both expect this Sobek to be in the solo lane and the Terra to be in the support position, Lynx. But I want to talk a little bit more about Sin Gaming's lineup with its double warrior composition, the Tyr and the Erlang Shen. How do you think that right-hand side of the map is going to play out for Sin?
It's actually a fairly strong lineup, especially against the Camazotz. You actually have quite a lot of heavy, strong CC. You have, obviously, the knockup from the Tyr, you have the knockup also from the Erlang Shen, you have the Taunt, you have the Root, all the CC flying around, while Camazotz very, very low amount of actual CC other than the slow. And Sobek, he does have the knockback from Tail, but other than that, the charge play is a very single-target CC, so Sin Gaming just going for the approach of just trying to lock it down Legacy as much as possible.
So the I'm just trying to think though, where I guess Sin are playing for a bit of a later composition with the like Shan Kronos combination.
Well, Kronos and Ram, like they'll have 3 ADCs if they can make it to late game. Only big issue is they're gonna have to deal with Idavine constantly rotating around the map with that 3 space on time. So Sin Gaming, they need to have really good ward vision, as well as just know when people are missing, because Idavine, and especially him and Freemason, can work together to just pop out of nowhere and just suddenly burst down either Rana or Sheepman and catch them off guard.
Well, mid lane we see Freemason and Divine getting a good amount of poke off here, but Zay's going very aggressively towards Freemason, taking a lot of poke now from these archers. Sin Gaming barely winning the clear battle, but both teams kind of splitting there, and both teams heading towards their speed buffs. No invades coming out this game. We can see on the left-hand side, very similar thing. Both teams just kind of waiting to, you know, clear their waves and then go for their buffs. Not really looking for anything too aggressive at this stage of the game. You know, the later this game goes, I feel like it favors Sin just slightly more. Even though there is a Janus and a Hoyi on the side of Legacy. But I feel like the mid-game is where Legacy's team comp is really going to shine.
Oh, especially when we start seeing those gold fury fights. Actually, over in the dual lane, we do see a dive bomb aggressively onto She-Man as well as Rana, as they're just trying to beat the ever-living crap out of Rana.
And Rana stunned in there, through the walls by Sharks. Sheepman doing a great job of body blocking, and Rana going to be able to roll away back through the minions. Oh, the ricochet for limits nearly on the mark, but still, great work there from Sheepman, keeping his ADC alive. Rana basically backed up against a wall. His only escape there was his teammate. Now Limits diving in. This should be first blood, and Limits will pick up first blood. He'll pick up himself a double kill at the start of the game here. And this is what Legacy have been missing out of their ADC.
Over in the solo lane, our Chuckle was actually getting pinned by Zayas, but other than that, they're just going to back off. And that was just a really, really good fight by Legacy. Even though they did have that level 1 disadvantage just due to the lack of Terra Clear, as soon as they had the Monolith as well as the ability to shatter it, they had not only the healing, but also a lot of damage, especially with that Bluestone on Limits and the red buff to boot.
It was a very rough situation for Sin Gaming, and now they find themselves 2 levels down here over in this Joy lane. As if a Ram, you know, didn't suffer enough in the early game. You know, he's got good kind of like first wave clear, and then after that really struggles. With a Kepri, he does have a little bit of a better time of it, but I mean, against a Hoyi, it is a rough time indeed.
Not to mention, it's really easy to bait out the rollout. A nice grab by She-Man to kind of stop Sharks from trying to destroy the pillar, but he's going to let himself get stunned out, and a lot of poke applied by Limits straight on She-Man, especially with the mark this early on.
Yeah, a lot of poke down onto this Kepri. No revive up yet at this stage. We can see Zay's poking in his head around here as well, trying to catch out Limits or Sharks. Probably Limits, given the amount of health it is on. Towards the mid lane, Idavine has hit level 5, so that through space of time is online. If they kind of sense up this rotation from Zay's, who's actually got himself a great position here behind Limits and Sharks. Limits actually going to be diving aggressively towards Sin Gaming's jungle. There's the through space of time, but Idavine actually gets the 2 targets. Limits taken very low here. Runner will pick him up, but Sharks will trade back out. The ADC, his Freemason as well, and Zays is in a lot of trouble. No ultimate available for him. Beads through the portal. Freemason diving for a great pillar there from Sharks just to simply body block Zays away, and Legacy pick themselves up 2 kills at the price of their ADC.
Legacy just showing the absolute strengths of Janus. So you haven't really seen Janus for a very long time just due to his fairly weak early game, but against the Kronos you can completely mitigate that. Not to mention, as you just saw, he was off farming over by the mid lane, can easily just rotate straight to the dual lane, no questions asked, and get themselves a nice little bit of experience, which is actually quite huge for Janus, who needs to get a couple levels before he really starts doing damage. Especially the gold will be a really nice boost for him.
Let's look towards our solo lane matchup. We can see Osha's got a level over El Chuckles here. El Chuckles is pretty low in the health and mana departments, but Osha was forced. Osha did go back to base first. How do you kind of see this solo lane matchup going, the tier versus the Sobek?
I feel like neither can really kill each other. Both are too tanky and have too much sustain in their kits to actually be able to truly kill each other. Not to mention, when a full look in the waters, T can just leap over it, and if T tries to use his full combo into Sobek can just dash up the tower, so it's going to be a fairly stale sort of mid lane where no one's going to really be able to beat each other. What's going to really come into effect is who's going to be more effective in these gold fury fights. Tia have got a really strong ability to not only dive the backline, but get out immediately and pick people up with him. While Sobek, he kind of has to throw his body a little bit further in and be a bit more aggressive and hope that his team will back him up. So we'll see what happens once the mid-game fights start rolling around. It's only 4 minutes in, so it's really anyone's game, even though it's now 4-1 in favor of Legacy.
Yeah, even though it is 4-1, these kills have been early and there hasn't been a whole lot gotten off it from the side of Legacy. They're only 1,500 experience and 1,000 gold in the lead. Not a huge lead at this stage. Oracle Harpers will fall their way as well, but still, it's not a gold fury, it's just a little bit of extra gold and experience, so There's nothing too much for Sin Gaming to be worried about at this stage. They're holding their own, especially with a Cronus or Ram. The later this game goes for them, the better it will be. They just need to make sure that things don't get out of hand here. Rana Brana, beads were forced there as limits would have stunned him if those beads were not popped. But yeah, as I was saying, Sin Gaming just kind of need to survive the onslaught for now and then come back in the late game.
Especially if they use those tower lines, if they just keep falling back, playing very defensively, have lots of wards in their jungle, ensuring that they're getting any farm they can, and just ensure that it doesn't get stolen away, it's going to be a big boon for them. And as long as they can do that, basically, as you said, just entropy their way to victory. Not really too many questions asked about that. Legacy being a little bit aggressive over in the mid lane, just throwing a few monoliths and stuns onto She-Man.
Yeah, just trying to force out maybe some actives, or just try and catch someone out of position and get some poke damage down with them. But Legacy, they're not really looking to commit too hard to a fight here. Limits will probably look to commit to a fight, A, because of his playstyle, and B, just because of his matchup. Terra's Blessing popped as the rotation from Zaze and Sheepman is spotted out, and that's also going to be a 3 space at time, so it looks like Legacy want to take a fight over here. They've committed 2 ultimates here. I don't know if it's a wise call to remain with this fight, and it looks like they're instead going to head towards the Gold Fury. Sharks waiting around the corner here. They could be looking to try and pick Tomolomo off.
Yeah, they actually are just waiting very patiently for both Rana, Sheep, and Zaze to come in. They might just be baiting for this Gold Fury fight as they fall further and further back. They do have Oracle Harpy Vision, so it's not impossible for them to try and catch someone, as Tomolomo's beads is forced to be used there as he nearly gets banished by the Yanis portal.
I mean, he's fine with burning the beads because he essentially has a beads and an Aegis in his ultimate, so he's not too worried about burning his beads as a Cronus. But still, that's 2 fairly large global ultimates off the table for Legacy for the near future. Chuckles used his ultimate as well over in the solo lane, so a lot of ultimates burnt by Legacy in recent times. If there was ever a time for Sin to try something aggressive, it's now. Instead, they look to just be kind of playing the same defensive playstyle.
It's fairly hard to be aggressive when none of your really hyper carry ADCs have the items necessary to actually be able to do the damage. Obviously, you do have the Erlang Shen and the Warrior jungle. The problem is Freemason is already 1 level ahead, and when you start falling behind as that Warrior jungle, it can be quite hard to actually be effective in any sort of sense of the word during a team fight.
Dark's rooted in place by Sheepman. Zaze actually was taken very low over on the side by Divine and Freemason. He's going to back off towards his own speed buff, but it looks like Divine maybe wants to attempt to steal here. Freemason certainly is going to try for it. Zaze very, very low here. Does have his ultimate, but Freemason is going to pick him up. Divine used his ultimate to just find the secure, but Freemason did not need it. Speed buff did fall the way of Legacy's wall, but they're not even going to go bother trying to pick it up. Limits is trying to take the 1v1 fight with Rana Brana, who goes up in the sky, looking for the snipes here, and also just trying to buy himself some time. Stun out there from Destiny. Rana Brana never had a chance until Sheepman came along and resurrected him there with the Scarab's Blessing. So Rana Brana able to make it out fight alive.
And I think Rana's going to be very happy to come out of that alive. If he had died, not only would he have to make the full trek back to the duo lane, but that added death time with an already massive 2-level deficit in this matchup is just going to make things even harder. They do, however, skill away the purple and the red buff, so a nice pickup for Legacy, but with the Kepri revive down as well, Legacy, they can look to force another fight possibly.
Ricochet there from Limits just off the mark, but the Oracle Harpies will fall the way of Sin, which I think is important for them. They don't want to get caught with their pants around their ankles if a Legacy start up this Gold Fury anytime soon. But I don't, even if they have the vision on it, I don't know if there's a whole lot they can necessarily do about it at this stage, given the lead that Legacy have established for themselves and just kind of how their characters are at this stage in the game. I think if any fight occurs at this point, unless it's a pick by Sid Gaming, it's going to all go the way of Legacy. Gold Fury is going to be started up now. Sin will spot this out, as I mentioned, with the benefit of the Oracle Harpies, but Legacy, I think, are just trying to bait this. Freemason does get stunned there by Tomolomu, but he doesn't care. He's going at Sheepman to target. No Scarab's Blessing for him to use. Divine with a shotgun blast. Unstable Vortex will get the kill. Zaze taking some damage here through space of time from Divine as well. Freemason takes a lot of damage, but Chuckles will be the one to pick up Zaze. Magic Shell has popped, and Legacy turn their side straight back to the Gold Fury. Chuckles in the backline zoning out Tomolomu, just keeping him away from the Gold Fury, lurking in the waters now. Tomolomu uses the Accelerator to try and get away, but Chuckles is going to have too much damage. Rewind used by Tomolomu to get himself away, but 2 kills go the way of Sin Gaming.
Yeah, that is lucky that Legacy were able to get themselves the Gold Fury, but now pressure is in favor of Sin. Both Tomolomu and Rana Barana are able to actually push down a tower if necessary, and a really nice rotation, I should say, from Osher to pick up those nice clean kills in the backline, showing the strength of the tier. Obviously, El Chuckles was doing a really nice job earlier on to zone them away with the Sobek, just constantly throwing out the heal as well as trying to knock him back, but as soon as Osher found the backline, that was a nice pickup for him.
Rana taking some damage here from Chuckles. He needs to be careful he doesn't get caught out by the pluck. he'll be alright for now. Divine doesn't have a whole lot of mana, Shark's not a whole lot of health, so Legacy probably can't get too much in the way of push over in this left-hand side. They did pick up the Gold Fury, but not a whole lot after that, especially considering the 2 kills that Sin were able to get, so Sin Gaming played that fight pretty nicely.
Well, the important thing is Legacy are starting to get the items online. The Huyu's already finished the Devourer's Gauntlet. We actually now see a Jade Emperor Crown on the Terra. Even Yanis is actually fairly close to what I believe will be a Spear of Desolation to actually start getting that penetration online. So some fairly important items for Legacy already about to come online as Freemason looking to try and actually steal away the speed buff on the side of Sin.
Bruce Basic time comes through as well and hits Osha in the face. Tomolomu, no ultimate for him. Chuckles is chasing him down. Scarab's Blessing though from Sheepman. Not completely necessary, but it does make Chuckles back off. Speed buff fell the way of Sin Gaming and they secured their own speed buff. Freemason taking some poke here, but Portal Demon is the target for Legacy, it looks like. Chuckles and Divine want to go for that one. Freemason's just going to get his own speed buff, and Legacy respected the call, back away from the Portal Demon.
Yeah, I feel like as long as you get a Scarab's Blessing, I feel like Legacy will be quite happy to back off, reset, and try and look for another opportunity at a later point. Especially because they weren't... obviously, the Kronos Ultimate hasn't been used yet either, so they know that they can't go whole hog into these teamfights until they can get that ultimate fully down, and especially until they have another Yanis 3 space and time to rotate and catch them off guard. Instead, they're just going to gladly take as many neutral objectives as they can until they can find another way in.
They're looking at the gold lead now, 3,700 experience, 3,400 from gold in the lead is Legacy, I should say. So not the worst deficit for Sin Gaming to find themselves out, but still in a very rough spot for where their characters are. Tomolomu especially 2 levels behind Divine in mid means he can't get his second relic, and that is super important for this Kronos, who's found himself caught out a little bit by El Chuckles and getting zoned away from the fights. A second relic like an Aegis would definitely help him out a lot, I think. Or is there anything else, Link, you could think of that would benefit this Kronos?
Aegis is definitely on the top of my mind. Possibly even something like a Blink Room could actually be quite handy just for the repositioning tool and getting yourself surprisingly into the fight. If you can land a stop time onto someone like Freemason or Divine, shut them down early, it'll be nice. Chuckles forced to go into lurking in the waters by the solo lane.
Trying to force back the side of Sin Gaming. Divine coming through on the side as well. Terra's Blessing was popped. Chuckles takes a lot of damage through space and time. Does not connect, but the unstable Vortex will hit Zays. Limits is pushing the mid lane as well, so there'll be a wave going under that tower, and it looks like they're going to let Limits roam free around in this fight rather than push the tower. Portal Demon is up as well if Legacy want to go for that, but it appears they just want to fight Sin Gaming and try and get this tower.
Yeah, they don't want to just go for a Portal Demon and give it up for absolutely free, especially with a Kronos in the area who's still alive. However, while this is all going on, as you mentioned, Rana Barana only just split pushing out an absolute free tier 1, so they weren't able to get the tier 1 in the mid lane, as well as they're giving up the tier 1 to apply this pressure, which doesn't really seem to be doing much, as Sin are happy to waste time as they allow Rana to split push freely, even towards this tier 2, as they actually know just recently finished the Portal Demon. Sorry.
Dark's taking so much damage there from Osha's full combination, but not going to be enough to secure the kill. Freemason in a lot of trouble now, but he uses the bat out of hell to get himself away. Chuckles is stunned out. Sin Gaming get a nice little bit of damage off there, but not enough to secure a kill onto anyone on Legacy, and the Portal Demon does fall Legacy's way as well. Tier 1 tower, as you mentioned, Lynx, was taken by Rana Brana on the left-hand side. They're poking their head around the Gold Fury, but it is still down. It still needs to respawn, so nothing really Sin can get off the back of that. They did get themselves a tower, so pretty much a neutral fight there. No one really won or lost.
No one really won or lost, but Rana Brana, he's actually now back to the exact same level that Limits is at currently. So that's actually a huge pickup for them, because now that the fact that Limits and Rana are even, they can start to actually look to take these fights more evenly and not worry about this massive level deficit, which is still affecting some of the roster, as El Chuckles trying to land a lurk in the waters onto Zays.
Zays in a lot of trouble, but Scarab's Blessing will revive him. Nice through space of time from Divine as well. Did a lot of damage there. Oh, the unstable Vortex through the wall. Nearly connected onto Sin Gaming. But now, Legacy, they've got all the push here in mid lane, as there's only Osha left to defend. He could possibly clear out some of these minions, but it's going to be a 5-on-1 here. And if he tries to commit to this one too hard, he will fall down. Gets Portal there, but doesn't use any of his actives. Very wise move. Tier 1 tower will fall. Given the Gold Fury respawn time, Legacy pretty much have a free shot at this Gold Fury now, which if they have the timer on it, will give them a significant advantage.
Yeah, Limits diving over the wall, just actually picking up the Oracle Harpies for now. Full Sin Gaming rotation over to this Gold Fury, so Legacy, they're not going to get it for free as they think, as Rana actually already goes into the sniper a bit preemptively there, just trying to see if they actually were doing it. It turns out Legacy, they can back off knowing that they now have that ultimate finished off.
I think that's worth though from Rana. It's better to get that information than to not have it. Although it looks like they do have 2 wards on the area. They don't cover the Gold Fury though, so he couldn't actually see if the Gold Fury was being done or not. So yeah, I don't mind that call to just burn that ultimate there, and it's better to get information on the Gold Fury than to not. Terra's Blessing popped now by Legacy. It looked like they thought they were going to fight Sheepman and the rest, but it turns out they're going to get their speed buff for free. Fire Giant is up now at the stage of the game, but neither team really going to be looking too hard at that one unless there's basically a deicide.
Yeah, and that's why where the Gold Fury is going to be so key. We do see that Limits as well as El Chuckles both have their ultimates available. Even Freemason can quite easily burst down the Gold Fury if need be. So Legacy with a favorable matchup for now, and especially if they, now with iDivine getting his 3 space and time back, can quite freely take a Gold Fury if they want to go into a 5v5 fight with Sin. We do see over in the solo lane the Tier 1 tower on Legacy side is getting fairly low, and the Sin Gaming Tier 1 has only just been scratched recently, so Legacy need to be a little bit careful of losing that Tier 1, but I don't think that's going to be in the forefront of their mind. It's not really that bad to lose a Tier 1 tower over by the solo lane.
Yeah, not at all. Chuckles is more than happy to lose his tower if his team wins elsewhere. Gold Fury going to get started up now by Legacy. Only 2 members of Sin in the immediate area. Oh my goodness, Tomalamu was absolutely chunked there by the Unstable Vortex from iDivine. iDivine looking to try and find the kill. The second Unstable Vortex will land. Not enough to get the kill, but Legacy will secure the Gold Fury. iDivine portaling aggressively through into Sin Gaming's jungle and will pay for it with his life as Rana was waiting around the corner. So that's 1 member for a Gold Fury that's still basically in Legacy's favor. If Sin Gaming can somehow turn this into a fight, it's going to be very advantageous given that they don't have power of their mid lane main. Chuckles is going to get plucked in here, taking a lot of damage. Great stun out of Tomalamu, but Chuckles just barely able to get alive. Magic Shell is popped, and there's a sprint from Legacy. Rana with the snaps, trying to find the kill onto Chuckles, but not enough damage and not enough accuracy at this stage to pick up El Chuckles. So Legacy get the Gold Fury and loose. Remember, Rana goes in very aggressively here. Those Zays taking so much damage to the face. There's the bat out of hell from Freemason. He's looking for the kill, but he's not going to be able to find it. Sharks dashing through and roots Rana in place. He's going to take some damage, but Legacy overall win this fight. Osha goes in. He's looking for Limits, but Limits picks up the kill in a complete reversal of fortune for Osha.
That was actually just a really nice play from Legacy, and what I really liked to start with that team fight was iDivine actually, specifically as we noticed, quite aggressively deep into the jungle, and we saw almost all of Sin Gaming chasing him, instead of actually worrying about how far back Legacy were retreating. Legacy able to then actually just retreat back into their jungle, as they're now actually aggressing on Rana just a little bit there, forcing them back off the Tier 1 tower. So Sharks as well as El Chuckles holding the line for the Tier 1 tower with a nice defensive play.
And now we see Legacy out to a 6,500 experience lead, 6,000 gold lead. This is the stage where it's really getting scary for Sin Gaming, especially Tomalamu. 2 levels still behind iDivine. iDivine was taken out at the start of that fight, and Legacy still basically came out on top. They got the Gold Fury, and they got a kill onto Osha, who admittedly was diving their tower, but still, that's just some more golden experience in the bag of Legacy that really Sin can't afford to be giving away at this point.
Yeah, just the combination of both Shell, Devourer's Gauntlets, as well as Terra's slow killing over time, and I mean, just really kept Limits alive. It's a shame that Osha didn't have something like a Gladiator Shield or maybe even a Mystical Mail to just get that last little tick of damage to finish off the job, but when you're 1 level behind, that can sometimes happen.
Looking at iDivine's now, double penetration on Lifeframe with the Spear of Desolation and the Obsidian Shard. I love the cooldown boots as well. So he's got currently 20% cooldown reduction. Sorry, make that 30% with that standard time. So a lot of portals and a lot of unstable vortexes. And he hasn't really suffered in the damage department. We saw how he was able to chunk down Tomalamu, whose beats were just burnt there by a great wall out of Sharks. Now Sheepman's in a lot of trouble here, going to get trapped against the wall and felled by Limits. Fire Giant in the vicinity of Legacy, but too much of a risky call at this point. Rana looking like he's channeling some Noxide here as he's split pushing down the left-hand side Tier 2 tower. iDivine's going to be able to come through with all of his mobility, though, and stop this push.
Yeah, and we actually now see Freemason going the bat out of hell, trying to finish off Osha, who just barely gets away, and now Rana forced to actually contend against iDivine. It's going to just completely shut down any sort of split push potential, as they actually do finish off the Tier 1 solo tower for Sin Gaming. So Legacy able to push, as well as Rana all by himself against iDivine, so it's going to be a nice win for Legacy.
Oh, Divine used his portal there. That was nearly very risky for him, but he had an Aegis to keep himself safe. Rana, good recognition there to go in and try and find the kill. Divine still hanging around here as the rest of his team is pushing over on the right-hand side in the mid lane. Divine needs to be a little bit okay for his portals. Rana going in there. Good portal from iDivine. Doesn't have an Aegis to save himself now. Uses his through space of time to try and get away as Rana used his ult as well. Rana now is the one in trouble. Aegis perfectly used there to keep himself alive. Here's a portal. Rana. Oh, this is going to be very difficult for him to get out of. I don't think he's going to be able to do it. He will not. Limits picks up his 5th kill of the game.
Yeah, a nice easy kill for Limits, and I really just like how iDivine just sat back and let Limits be the one to finish off the kill. He knew he didn't want to be overly aggressive and go in and possibly give a very easy kill to Rana, so instead letting his teammate finish off the job, and not only that, giving him that extra kill to back to parity again with Rana, who's still been doing really well. Like, even though Sin Gaming, they've been finding it quite hard to farm, as we've seen this entire game, anytime it seems like Sin Gaming are falling behind, Rana just suddenly just goes into the split push mode and trying to get as much farm as possible to keep his team in the game. And that's what you really need coming from this realm trying to get to late game.
I need to see a little bit more out of this Cronus as well for Sid Gaming. Tomalamu not been having the best of games, 3 levels behind iDivine. He was sitting on level 12 for a long time there, given he was defending some towers along with his team, but still, this Cronus has really got to be the catalyst for Sin Gaming. Rana can't do it all on his own. And even still, Rana's only been split pushing towers, but it's been enough to keep his team kind of with their heads above water, but not for much longer, given now that the experience is 10,000 in favor of Legacy, 7,500 gold as well in their favor. Very, very difficult to come back from this kind of a deficit.
I don't think Sin Gaming's woes are going to be ending anytime soon. We actually see the Cronus building into a cloak of protection. It's not really going to give you any sort of penetration or damage, and even though there is a lot of CC, there's only so much you can do against Legacy's type of CC, especially the Banish, as El Chuckles gets a nice pluck onto Zaze.
Zaze going to be affected by the Scarab's Blessing, so should get out through space in time, nearly clips him, but he will live. Unstable Vortex nearly hits him as well. In goes El Chuckles, up in the air goes Rana. He's looking for the snipes, but mainly trying to stay alive. Sheepman's going to fall to limits, and Rana caught between 3 enemies. He's deleted by iDivine. Gold Fury is going to be the target here now from Legacy. Osha trying to just keep Legacy busy and keep them away from that objective along with Tomalamu, but it's not going to happen. Chuckles will get slammed into the wall. Freemason's here as well, but the rest of the team is focusing on that Gold Fury, and that's going to be a free Gold Fury there for Legacy, along with 2 kills onto Sin Gaming, and now they're going to look for the tier 1 tower on the left-hand side, and a whole lot more gold. This is dire straits right now for Sin Gaming.
We mentioned how strong Legacy is in the mid-game, as Osha actually diving in onto iDivine, trying to find the kill, but Fearless not be enough Aegis used to just make sure iDivine stays safe, as Osha now knocked back into the 5 members of Legacy.
And there's not going to be enough healing there in the world to save him. Brave play there from Osha, and nearly pulls it off. And, you know, this is kind of the Osha we used to see on the old Team Nox side, and we haven't really seen it as much from Sin, but this is the kind of performance he'd have on that Nox side team. Fantastic individual performance, but just not the team around him to support it. But great work from Osha so far on this tier.
Yeah, and he's actually been doing fairly decent. He's already level 16, which is actually keeping quite up nicely with Legacy only 1 level behind El Chuckles, who's had a fairly fantastic game, doing a really nice job of just constantly zoning away Sin and just setting up those really nice kills as we saw in that Gold Fury fight, getting that first pluck onto Zaze, which really was the catalyst for everything going so horribly wrong. But Sin now, the ones on the aggressive with the rolling assault from Rana.
Yeah, should be turning onto El Chuckles, who's under 50% HP. Lurking the waters will allow him to get out safely. Shark's looking for a stun, but not going to find it. There's the through space in time, which actually hits Rana. iDivine, though, wisely choosing not to go through the portal. Not enough of his team there to support him, but still enough damage to make Sin Gaming back away from that tier 1 tower, which they could potentially have gotten given the amount of damage they were doing to Chuckles.
Not even just the tier 1, Portal Demon will be up fairly shortly as well, so with them zoned completely out of the way, Legacy getting themselves another objective for free. They've been doing really good in getting a lot of the neutral objectives, Gold Furies, Fire Giants, Elementals, Oracles. They've all been going Legacy's way, and that's partially why they have such a nice big level as well as XP disparity.
Limits 6, 2, and 5, but excellent work from Sharks, the sub, playing in the support role this game for Legacy. Done a fantastic job, whatever Legacy's asked him to do. Osha taking some poke now. Chuckles diving in. Osha's taking a lot of damage now. Freemason chasing forward, trying to find the kill. Not going to get it. Portal Demon looking to be started up here now by Legacy as iDivine chunks down Rana. Portal Demon started up by Sharks, but they're just looking to bait the fight here. They know they have the advantage over Sin, given their golden experience lead, as well as the ultimate still on the table for them. Wisely, Sin Gaming not engaging.
Yeah, Sin Gaming, they really can't be engaging these kind of fights. They need to look for that single pickup and run away. Every time they go for the 5-on-5, Legacy are almost certainly now going to win, especially with the lack of anti-healing, which I'm quite surprised to see out of Sin Gaming. Not a single Pestilence, Brawler's Beatstick, or not even a Divine Ruin to be seen. So Legacy having a very easy time just sustaining and out-sustaining Sin Gaming in the team fights as iDivine gets a pause out.
Yeah, so you're completely right about the anti-heal, given the amount that Sharks can output, but just also the individual healing coming out from Freemason and El Chuckles as well is something that should be looked at. But Sin Gaming not really following that build path, just looking to try and stay safe at this point. We can see 3 Spirit Robes picked up here by Osha, Zaze, and Tomalamu. You know, some cooldowns, some protections, and that damage mitigation, which is so useful. Terrace Blessing is popped now, as the Portal Demon was started up by Legacy. Through space and time as well, used by iDivine, just to scare away Sin Gaming. He's going to back off now, and look, I think he's trying to get back for his Rod Tahuti. Yep, it's going to be the Rod Tahuti online now for iDivine, so he's going to be absolutely chunking in his next 2 fights. Freemason takes some damage here, manages to use Bat Out of Hell to get away. Osher over the wall, was looking for Freemason, but Freemason got away with his ultimate. Osher now plucked away by El Chuckles, running with the snipes. Not accurate enough here. Sharks dives in and gets 2 with the root. Idivine over the wall, doesn't manage to find a kill. El Chuckles with a great ultimate there. Zaze will be revived with the Scarab's Blessing from Sheepman, but now that ultimate is down, there is nothing standing between Idivine and a kill here, except for some bees. Portal Demon will get started up now by Legacy. Good pluck there from Chuckles. Osher takes so much damage, but the shell will keep him alive. Rana chunk down, looking to steal this Portal Demon, but good walls from Sharks will secure that one for Legacy.
And that's the real scary thing about this Legacy lineup we're seeing. Freemason at that very start of the fight was forced to bat out hell away and just go as far back as that tier 1 tower. As soon as the fight seems to be nearing its end, we see Freemason just rotate right back in, use the 2 to heal him right back up to full, and Legacy, they don't look like they've been in a fight at all. If anything, they just got themselves a free Portal Demon, and now they're starting up the Fire Giant as well. This is possibly the nail in the coffin for Sin Gaming if they can't do something soon.
I don't think they're going to be able to even contest this one. Through space of time from Idivine comes through just to help secure that objective. With the Portal Demon and the Fire Giant in their favor, Legacy Esports have got nothing standing between them and the remaining Sin Gaming towers. Zaze trying to get away here, but Freemason's just chasing him down, not allowing him to back, chunking him down. Zaze trying to get away. Freemason is happy to not even kill him here. He's just trying to make sure he can't get back to his tower, because he's been waiting for limits. And Freemason limits will combine there for the kill onto Zaze. Left-hand side should be the push target for Legacy Esports. They want to get down those towers and reopen on another opportunity to potentially go for Fire Giant if it comes back up. But I think once they push down this left-hand side and get the remaining towers down as well, I don't think there's anything Sin Game is going to be able to do, Fire Giant or not.
Especially now, Sharks have got the Emperor's Armor, the Monolith to heal both minions and allies on the tower. You see Limits just go for a full-out penetration build, not even going for the Wind Demon or Deathbringer, understanding that with a Warrior Jungle, you just kind of want to shred them instantly with both an Executioner, a Shins, and a Titan's Bane. I don't think anyone on the side of Legacy is going to survive the onslaught of Limits, and it's nice to see him come back, already going 6-2-6 on his first game on return.
Yeah, it's good to see him slot back into the team so effectively. The bye week, I think, really helped Legacy in that regard. Gave Limits a chance to get back and practice with the team. Gold Fury, start up by Legacy here, just taking away that comeback mechanic for Sin Gaming. Not that they really need the gold at this point, given the amount of items that they've got, but they're going to buy out the last few items that they need and then execute the final push here. Probably down the right-hand side, take the tower and then take the Phoenix. Could look to go straight for the Phoenixes on the left and middle lanes, but more than likely want to get rid of that tower to take away some extra health and protections from the Titan.
I think El Chuckles is doing the right thing, just getting those minions out of the way in mid lane. Already over in the dual lane, it's going to take a while for Sin Gaming to rotate and take those minions out. So while that is happening, as you said, Legacy just going to finish off that final tower, go for Phoenix, and really, as you said at this point, just end. There's not much at all I can see Sin Gaming doing. The best they got is try their best to defend on the Phoenix and hope Legacy just don't have enough burst to finish off the Phoenix, and maybe they can turn around with a really well-timed Kronos ultimate as well as a Kepri revive, but unless they can really, and I mean really use the mechanic of having 7 team members, they are going to be struggling quite difficultly to actually stop the Legacy push, especially with the Fire Giant buff still available to them.
So it looks like they're going to go for a bit of a split push mentality here. They're going to let Limits roam free on this left-hand side while the rest of the team pushes the right and mid lanes. I really like this because it really synchronizes their pushes, so they don't have to worry about delayed minion waves and the other waves when they're trying to push the Phoenixes down. Looks like Limits, though, is going to head towards the mid lane and disregard the left-hand side. But still, pushing these 2 lanes at once, I really like the strategy. I really like the way it enables you to take the Phoenixes before any of the game. And I think it's a very smart call from Legacy, and I don't think enough OPL teams do it.
Not to mention, it just gives that experience to a couple of the players who are already quite under-leveled, and just taking one member away just means more experience is going the way of those members, as Zaze immediately Mingform away, knowing he cannot at all engage into this 5-man roster. Fire Giant buff going to be lasting for about a little bit longer, so Legacy, they do have it available to them once they actually want to dive into this Phoenix. Both solo lane and mid lane also pushed up, so it's all up to Legacy to see if they can actually get themselves into this Phoenix and take it away.
There is an Emperor's Armor on Sheepman, so that Phoenix is going to be hitting a little bit quicker than it normally would, so Legacy need to make sure they don't overcommit and dive under that Phoenix too hard, so they could find themselves taking a whole lot of damage. They're leaving Freemason to push on this right-hand side, distracting Tomolomu. Freemason's pretty much, he's got enough penetration online at the stage to really be effective against that Phoenix. Chuckles dives in, doesn't manage to find anyone to pluck. Sheepman misses his pluck as well, but he takes a whole lot of damage from Freemason and from Sharks as well. Down come the Suns from Limits. They're just focusing on this Phoenix, trying to get it down, not even looking for kills yet, and they do get the Phoenix. Freemason falls to burn his beads, and Legacy back off and start to look towards the right-hand side Phoenix.
That was just a really good use of the Huey ultimate to not really just do damage, it's more just to zone them away, ensuring that Sin Gaming couldn't really do much to defend. Obviously the Phoenix was doing that little extra bit of output. That's quite easily negated by not only the Fire Giant buff, but also by the Terra healing, as well as just the insane amount of healing out of almost everyone on the roster. So Legacy, they didn't really find it that too difficult to push, and all that was really lost was the Magi's Blessing bubble on Freemason, not even his Purification. So I feel like Legacy are going to be very happy with how that push ended for them.
Taking a look at the graphs here, not that it's really going to make much difference at this stage, but 18,000 experience, 19,000 gold in the lead are Legacy, and they're not even done building all their items yet. Ardivine's going in for a Soul Reaver. Freemason's got to finish off his, I think that's going to be, could be a Spirit's Robe, but more than likely a Mantle of Discord here. They can upgrade their relics, they can get some potions, so, you know, any gold that they get is going to be used very effectively against Sin Gaming. Sin still struggling to find room to breathe in this game.
Yeah, I feel like one of the key things, just look at that play damage difference, like just comparing both the mages as well as the ADCs. Currently we see limit 17,000 compared to Rana here, who's actually been doing a fairly decent job, but then you go to the mids and 10,000 to 9,000, it's been kind of interesting, as both of them been able to work with the items they have, but they just haven't been able to find any of the picks, just because they're healing constantly negating any sort of work they try and do, which is rather disheartening to the side of Sin Gaming, as Fire Giant falls for the second time this game. Middle Phoenix is down, so like I said, they do have the option to just push straight up this solo lane, don't even have to worry about the middle lane as 5 minions doing the work for them.
Yeah, 5 minions going to push up their mid lane. Don't need to split anyone off here, but the left-hand side is fairly pushed up for Sin, so Legacy going to have a tougher time pushing that one down. Right-hand side, though, is obviously the target hit for Legacy. If they take this Phoenix, they could look to end this game. They've got their own Emperor's Armor, so their Phoenix is a little bit weakened now. Asha diving in there with his ultimate, does not find anyone with his Fearless, but Zay's going in very hard here. His heal doesn't even have a chance to go on as he's blown up by limits. Through space and time comes through from Ardiviine. Middle Phoenix will fall down. Rada takes so much damage there. This looks like the end for Sin Gaming. Great knock up there by Chuckles. Freemason will find Asha. Tomolombu, Portal just before the fountain, and Limits will find the kill. Scarab's Blessing used by Sheepman a little bit prematurely and on himself. Legacy looking to find the win here. Limits diving in. He finds Rana. Limits is just trying to pick up another kill here on the Sheepman. Sheepman will pluck him back into the tower. Limits doesn't get his final kill, but Legacy will get the final win here in game number 1 over Sin Gaming.
Legacy just doing a really nice job to ensure that Sin Gaming wasn't able even remotely to hit that late game stride that they were really trying to look for with that fairly late game lineup, and Legacy, especially like the amount of healing that they were doing, was just impossible for Sin Gaming to try and actually stop it. And with Legacy actually now just winning 18-4, a very convincing win for them.
And nice work there by Legacy Esports. Alright, we're going to take a short break. We'll be back with game number 2 between Legacy Esports and Sin Gaming.